Well, hello, fellow Guardians. I hope you all have been well and enjoyed your first day of Renegades. Now, what I'm about to show you is just so dumb. I didn't even know how to title my video because of how ridiculous this hunter build really is. I loaded the ultimate difficulty at the shooting range here at the tower, so we're about 30 or 40 power level under, and I want to show you guys exactly what is happening and why it's happening. And right after that, I'll show you some ultimate strike gameplay against champions and mobs of enemies, but I'm showing you in the tower first because I want you to understand what's happening here and how you can apply it to a ton of different subclass builds on the hunter, and you'll be able to run around like an absolute tank in any content in the game. I know hunters have felt a little left out, so you guys get the first build this season, and you probably won't be taking it off. Let me add in some enemies here and even throw in a champion. And I want you guys to pay close attention to our buffs on the left-hand side of the screen because that's where all the magic's happening. I'm running this on a stasis hunter, so I just throw down my glacier grenade here, shadow dive into it, and that's an instant frost armor times 8, and you'll pretty much have an infinite grenade up all the time. But our Praxic blade alone will feed us frost armor anyway, so you're good to go if you just do this one time. So we currently have the Void Overshield to start off with, and Frost Armor times 8. I'm going to start this wave of enemies just by reflecting shots with our Praxic Blade. We keep the Void Overshield up, we then add Frost Armor times 8, we add ourselves Amplified buff, and lastly the Devour buff. So we have 70% damage reduction from Void Overshields, 50% damage reduction from Frost Armor, 15% damage reduction from Amplified, and an infinite healing source of Devour. And this is all while just blocking and running around using your Praxic Blade. So you're literally just a tank, you're unkillable, and you can mow through anything because Praxic Blade hits like an absolute truck. So how does this work and how can you apply this to your hunter on any subclass or any build across the hunter? First off is the Praxic Blade itself. Under the trait column, I have Hyper Blade on. Reflecting shots causes you to become amplified. That's all there is to it. So when we reflect shots with our weapon, we're going to become amplified. This is up all the time. This is on your Praxic Blade, so you can take this to any build you want. For the Praxic Blade form, I have defensive form on. Blocking an attack with your guard grants ammo to this weapon, but since I am playing more into blocking, I took the defensive form. And then for your power core, I had refraction core. Reflecting damage from this weapon applies an elemental effect that matches your equipped super. So based on whatever you're using, you're gonna get a bunch of different stuff. We have stasis, so our reflection slows enemies. This plays right into the Grim Harvest aspect on the hunter. While Grim Harvest is equipped, picking up stasis shards grants stacks of frost armor, and defeating slowed or frozen targets creates stasis shards. So every time we're reflecting and slowing something, it's creating stasis shards. That just gives us frost armor. So if you had the times 8 from your glacier grenade or shatter dive, you're just going to keep that up. Even if you didn't have it up, each time you pick up a stasis shard, you'll get frost armor times 2 and then times 4 and so on, all the way up to a times 8 for 50% damage reduction. But now we add in 2 different artifact mods that just make it go crazy. First off is Singularity Blade. While you have a Void Elemental buff, melee and sword hits weaken targets. So this counts as reflecting as well. I thought you had to run up and actually hit somebody with your melee sword, right? Or throw the sword, but you can just be reflecting shots and all those reflected shots will weaken enemies. So those reflected shots you're doing is weakening enemies. It's also slowing those enemies. And then it plays into our next artifact mod, which is Power from Pain. Rapid final blows against the weakened combatants grants you Devour. So all we need is that Void Elemental buff. And how are we going to get that Void Elemental buff? That is through the Fortune's Favor new exotic leg armor for the hunter. I know a lot of people were doubting this thing, but I'm here to say it's actually really good. The perk is after landing a final blow while at full health, or when out of combat for about 5 seconds, your shields will slowly recharge into a Void Overshield. It takes about 5 to 8 seconds for the full Void Overshield to fill up top. And while you have that overshield, your weapons gain increased accuracy, stability, handling, and the main part here is damage. It's like 15 to 20% extra damage that you get. And this is a extra buff of damage that you're getting on top of everything else. So if you were Radiant, if you had over 100 weapons and getting that 15% extra weapon damage, if you had surges running, all of that's on top of this. So it makes your Praxic Blade hits really hard if you have a Void Overshield. Now the main part about this Void Overshield is it's landing final blows while at full health. So when we start off an engagement, we have that Void Overshield already, right? When you're going to load into an activity or you're doing anything, you're going to have the Void Overshield when you enter a room. The The reason I throw down my Glacier Grenade and get Frost Armor ×8 is because I'm pretty sure that any extra damage reduction stacks on the Void Overshield before it goes to our health, if that makes sense. So now you're just beefing up your Void Overshield even more. And then since we proc Devour so quickly, any final blows while at full health starts that Void Overshield. If you're in combat and you're constantly proccing Devour, well then you're constantly proccing the restart of that Void Overshield. So even if you don't take damage for like 2 seconds, you've filled up so much of your bar, right? Probably like a quarter. If you don't take damage for like 4 seconds, you're filling up half of your Void Overshield, right? And sometimes you'll see me even while I'm blocking. I don't know if it's because I'm only blocking so much of enemies' hits or because I have the Void Overshield and the Frost Armor combined, but even when I'm blocking, you'll see my Void Overshield going up. So you could apply this exotic to any of the other subclasses as well, like Solar or Strand, and it's gonna make it really strong. You could take off this exotic and run a pure Void build, right? Because you'll be proccing Devour and Invisibility, or take it over to Prismatic and using Invisibility to keep proccing that over and over, and you'll be able to still proc Devour even without this exotic on. But on a subclass like Stasis or Solar or Strand, Fortune's Favor just send it to the next level. And I even think on Void or Prismatic, it'll still be really good because Void Overshields with that 70% damage reduction are just super strong. So down below, there will be a Mobalytics link you can click on for the full build. It'll go over the aspects, fragments, you can just copy and paste them. I know most of you guys do that anyways because you don't watch all my video, but it'll all be in there for you guys so you can copy exactly what I have up. And I just wanted to explain this interaction for you because you can take this to so many different levels. And I don't even have anything else unlocked on the Praxic Blade either, so I feel like it could get better. And I only have one mod unlocked in that 4th column for the artifact, which was Singularity Blade. So I'm missing out on a ton more that I could be adding. Like when you do constant sword attacks, you create that whirling slash around you that's going to do a bunch of extra damage to enemies. So there's a lot more I can add to this, but I need to get some XP and I need to get grinding. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.